Samsung has always been at the top of the list when it comes to camera and video quality. But a few years back, they added 8K video recording with a limit of 5 minutes to a long list of already jam-packed features. Was it worth it then? And is it worth it now? Have you heard the recent buzz about the new 8K footage on the S22 Ultra? Let's take a look through the years and compare the hardware and the software and see how they measure up against each other year after year. If you're looking for a long list of specs to go ahead and compare these two devices to each other, this isn't that video, but I will go ahead and put a screenshot of all of the specs at the end of this video. In case that's what you're here for, you can go ahead and get it. But if you're here to go ahead and see some samples of 8K over the years, then you are in the absolute right place. My name is Aaron, this is For the Love of Tech, and I love technology, and I love cameras. More specifically, I love smartphone cameras, and I love the evolution, and I love seeing how they develop and they enhance, and then the hardware comes out and then the software comes out and it changes it. Samsung released 8K recording on the S20 Ultra. Unfortunately, I hated that device and I was super excited to get rid of it. You may or may not have remembered I made a lot of videos about how I didn't like it and all of the issues and problems with it, and the 8K footage on that video, on that camera, was horrible. And then it came out on the S21, and then it got a little bit better, and then the S22, and then the Z Fold 4, and now the S23. And I'm thinking to myself, all this 8K footage, what is it good for? What can we do with it? Is it usable yet? Because when it came out on the S20 and it was basically garbage and you couldn't really use it, I never gave it too much attention. I never thought, let me go ahead and record in this large scaled resolution just to go ahead and downsize it to go ahead and render it into YouTube, because let's face it, on our devices, even though it records 8K, it can't view 8K. The gimmick, it can't see the 8K. So it's like, what do we need it for? We need it for the editing. We need it for the correcting. We need it for the colors. We need it for all those things, that the little back end edits and stuff. That's what that higher resolution is good for. But then, yeah, you go ahead and you downsample it. You downgrade it to a resolution that maybe is a little bit more popular. You downgrade it to a resolution that is a little bit more smaller, because these files can get massive. Then if you're converting it on this thing to the ProRes, it like blows my mind. So what is it good for? It's good for taking amazing videos and pulling great stills out of it. It's great for taking good videos in the dark with some light. And that is what inspired me to make this video. I was at a charity event called Cocktails and Couture. The charity event is to go to a scholarship fund to go ahead and put a Hillsborough County student all the way through cosmetology school, which is a super cool thing, and I was glad to participate and to be part of that charity event. When I was at Cocktail and Couture and I was taking a video on 8K footage, just for shits and giggles, I was like, hey, what's this gonna look like? I was like, wow, this came out phenomenal. And then I was able to actually take a photo while it was recording, and I was getting these amazing shots that were as if I was taking it with the 200 megapixel camera, but I probably wasn't. It was just like blowing my mind, because 8K footage finally did something. 8K footage finally found a use in my life. So let's go ahead and take a look at these samples, because I went ahead and took some samples in the backyard of the puppies and of bobblehead Steve over here. We gotta talk about it. It's not what you think. Newer isn't always better, and this is what I'm just like kind of blowing my mind. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna look at the first sample. This is the S21 Ultra, which is my oldest S device that records 8K footage in my possession right now today. S21 Ultra up against the S23 Ultra. Let's go ahead and look at these side by side. So looking at the S21 Ultra versus the S23 Ultra, it's actually surprising, because when you're seeing the phones going like this, they're actually next to each other going like this, because this is how I'm holding it. This is actually the device that I use. So you're seeing them and they're all like wobbly like that, but the reality is they're right next to each other. That's the image stabilization kicking in. That is a little bit of hardware, a little bit of software, definitely. The colors are different. They're off to me. I almost prefer the color of the S21 Ultra more. I know, it's like, I can't help it. I'm looking at it and that's what I think. When I'm looking at the footage of the S22 Ultra and the S23 Ultra, I can't help but again think I like the S22 Ultra color more. Why is it? And I went back and I took another video, and my 8K footage, when it's in that light, it's kind of being slightly overexposed. Now, the good thing about it is over time and more software updates, it'll probably get better. But right now out the box, you would think it would come as correct as the S22 with a year of updates behind it. But for some reason it didn't. It was very consistent through the whole thing. And the only thing difference is, I think the S23 Ultra is at 30 frames and the S23 or the 22 and the 21 and the Z Fold is at 24. I think that's what the difference was. So I'm gonna go ahead and look back at this again and looking at that image stabilization, and you really see, even though the colors are a little bit dimmer, that can be corrected, right? Having that better image stabilization is not something that you can really do wholeheartedly in post, but you can definitely enhance or reduce. But again, you know, the colors, they're not popping as much with the years of updates behind it. So let's go ahead and now let's look at the video with the Z Fold 4 and the S23 Ultra. Again, so taking a look at the S23 and then the Z Fold 4. The Z Fold 4 taking the 8K footage, even with severely less megapixels at its disposal, even though it's probably not using all of it. The color on the S23 Ultra is still a little bit more dimmer for me, whereas it pops more on the Z Fold 4. I also don't know if that maybe has had some time for the other devices. Maybe some camera AI has been working in the background. It's had time to develop. Whereas with this device, it really hasn't, because it's still kind of new and it was out the box right when we started taking these samples. But it had me thinking, right? Why couldn't Samsung provide the same results? Are my results unique? Are they typical? What are other people seeing? What are other people feeling when it comes to the 8K footage on the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 4, S23 Ultra, 22, 21 Ultra? What are you guys seeing? What are you thinking? Do you think that your device has 8K footage that is usable? Do you think recording in that higher resolution with those giant files on a smartphone and then having it transferred to your computer and then editing all that, do you think it's worth it? Is this a gimmick? Is this usable? What can we do with it? How can we use it? I use mainly Macs, and right now Dex is not cooperating with any Macs. It's like an update and I'm waiting for it to come out. So even if I do record 8K footage, which that's what I did, I had to upload it to the cloud, download it to the computer in order to go ahead and make it usable to go ahead and present to you guys. So this is what I went through just to take some samples for you. So with all that being said, and now you know this, we're gonna go back to the original question. Was it worth it then? And is it worth it now? What do you think? Let me know what you think. Head down to the comments. Tell me, 8K footage looks amazing in this scenario. I want to know where and when you've used it, where and when has it enhanced your results, your life, your creativity. Is this a thing? Should we just throw it away is it gonna fade into the background with another one of Samsung's gimmicks, or is it here to stay? I don't know. Let me know what you think below. Like, comment, subscribe. For the love of tech. Namaste.